Big normal. Big normal. Big normal. Big normal. Big normal.
Normal. Being normal. Being normal. It's something we're afraid of. None of us want to be the ordinary, but the reality is that most of us are already there. Choosing to do things your own way is almost always seen as admirable. But why? It's selfish. It's disobeying the system in place. In movies, we cheer the bank robbers on when if we were in the same situation, we would be scared for our lives. Is it the sort of freedom of choice in action, the disobedience within breaking the law, or the lack of reality in the film? Well, let me ask you this.
Would you rather be free in a trapped world or trapped in a free world? Because
I think that's the question we all are asked, or we ask ourselves, and only very few of us choose the latter, that being trapped in a free world. Because to be in the realm of the free world, you have to immerse yourself in the craft of what you're deciding to embellish upon. If you're a musician, for example, you're free in how you craft your pieces, but it has to have enough quality to survive in the unknown environment that you put it in. I mean, think about it hypothetically. Most of us are in a prison, an institution or some form, crafted for our needs, and we expect equality at every turn, but there's just not enough quality for everyone to have a turn in these institutions. We're looking to improve for the many and not the few, but the few that are not being looked to improve upon take on this prison, and some get away and some get caught and some trip up and never truly escape. Escaping from this world isn't just a physical aspect either. You know, for example, looking at the money or the status to afford the risk of not being a part of these institutions.
Escaping from this world isn't just the physical aspect either, it's the mental. Can you live out in the woods without a bird chipper or not hear noise? The idea of being creative is shined upon, but the idea of the loneliness and the journey that you have to do to
if you do adapt. However you look at it is how you adjust your perspective. The difference between them is, if you're in a trapped world, what do you really have to fear? If you're on this journey of self, yes, you're at this risk, and sometimes you're looking everywhere just for a path to follow, but you're not being nudged by these institutions, which are just controlled by actors who are concerned to how much they can charge their university students. I mean, which one's better? It's up to you to answer that. I mean, it's only something you can answer. It's all a decision that you have to make when you're age of 16, 17, 18 or 19. Whether you decide to take the risk or decide to play it safe and be ordinary. Just because you escape this hypothetical prison, it doesn't really make you a good person or bad. I mean, we look at it's how you act within that. What's your actual impact to surrounding individuals? We're told by schools that we're there to be educated.
What they want us to do is put memorized answers from a textbook into a paper. The very definition of educate is to let out the knowledge that you have, to let out what you've learned. But in these societies, in these institutions, we're taught to just take it all in, that we have to know someone to be someone, and you have to just suck it all up. That what you have inside, you shouldn't let out. The knowledge that you have is for yourself, and it's who can memorize the most, or who can...
So yeah, there are corrupt police officers and there are morally abided criminals. Both play different roles in their own world in this hypothetical prison that I'm talking about. We understand officers as a representation for the symbol of justice. The criminal may be more so freedom or rebellion. But is this really how we should interpret it? I mean, even in this day of age, how we can see in prisons in real life how how police officers can be corrupted. I mean, we could also argue the criminal is just doing justice in his own free world, but is trapped once he enters it, and that the police officer is ensuring freedom for the inmates alongside them. We find that in the houses that proclaim on their door, though, the most equality contains no explanation for the roof of corruption they hold. I mean, that's why we get Black Lives Matter leaders living in houses of Beverly Hills whilst any sort of funding towards impoverished black communities is put aside. It's benefiting for the few and not the many. It's the very thing that these institutions claim not to do, that they do. The day you successfully escape, though, away from this prison, away from this institution, is either the day you don't think about how you escaped, or you're so far out of sight to the person that was first in that hypothetical prison. I mean, either one is as dangerous as the other. You have a choice of the loss of journey in not thinking about how you escaped.
But either way, it's not great. You have a choice of the loss of the journey or the loss of identity that you once had. Some would say it's the day you don't have to check over your shoulder, but that's not true, because we all have an Achilles heel. Okay.